What do you think is like the biggest skill set that makes a successful agent, at least for Smart Move?
We've had the same philosophy here at Smart Move, the name of my brokerage, as I kind of do in life, is that we were going to build deep and not wide because we want the name to carry something.
You know, a lot of people that have that scarcity, are self-serving, come from a fear. In my opinion, the opposite of fear is faith. So when you come from that place of faith and just being like, I'm going to do my best and let him take care of the rest, it opens up a life that wasn't even possible before.
And we just had this opportunity to buy a historic business in our town. It's like this cutest little cafe. It's just got the most awesome vibes. It's historic. And to think that like now we own that part of history and own that part of our town, none of that would be possible. Like if we kept everything just clinched.
Welcome to the High Performance Human Podcast, where high achievers learn to master themselves, not just their success. I'm Creighton Bertrand, a certified high performance coach, here to share practical tools to rewire your habits and mindset. If you're ready to move beyond good enough and step into real transformation, you're in the right place. Let's get to work.
Okay, guys, well, I'm so excited to have Brandon on the show today to go into all things from real estate to religion to community to how do you show up when you don't feel like showing up. So, Brandon, I'm so excited to get you on the show. You're down in, and I know I'm probably going to say this wrong, but Baton Rouge, right?
Hey, that was really good.
Was it?
I didn't put you on the spot in trying to get you to say my last name. I like how you just said Brandon there, but that's a little Cajun French. Brandon Richoux.
Richoux. I did not stand a chance.
It's unfair. You know, the Cajun French down here makes words.
Do you have any French background then, since you're?
I took 2 years of high school French, but outside of that, no, I don't have French.
Wow, is that pretty common down there? Because up where I'm at, especially I think Pacific Coast, where everyone has to take Spanish.
Yeah, no, Spanish is the primary, but I figured with a last name like Richoux, I ought to give it an attempt, but
give it a go.
Yeah, like most high school courses, I don't retain any of that.
Well, I think it's like everything in life, you know, you don't use it, you lose it.
Lose it, 100%. Yeah, absolutely. So glad to be here today, man.
Awesome, man. I'm so excited to have you. So you're down in Baton Rouge, right?
Yeah, Baton Rouge. We live in a suburb right outside of Baton Rouge, 10, 15 minutes.
Okay.
Many people know Baton Rouge, think of LSU. I mean, it's a community that does live and breathe football and sports. That's Louisiana and Baton Rouge as a whole. And so we're in that little bit of a suburb right outside called Denham Springs. It's where I was raised, born in New Orleans. Currently husband to my beautiful wife of 11 years, which is incredible. We got married young. We got married at 21 and 22. And,
oh, wow.
Yeah. And it's been incredible. She's the best thing in the world. Best thing that ever happened to me. We've got 3 kids and 6, 4, and 1.5.
Wow. Congrats.
Thank you, man. And currently I'm a broker and owner of it's an independent real estate brokerage, residential real estate called Smart Move Real Estate.
Okay.
Been doing that as well, 11 years. So when my wife and I got married, got started in real estate and started real estate all at that same time. Right after graduating college. Yeah. So
you said you started in real estate at 21. You went to college though, right? Didn't you get
Yes, I did.
business?
So she was 21, I was 22. So I actually got started in real estate at 22, got married at 22.
And you were out of college at that point, or you were still
out of college at 22? Yeah. So
how does that math? My engineering brain's not computing. I'm like 8 plus 4 does not equal 21.
Yeah, no. So I graduated at 18 in 2010, right? And then in 2014, that's when I graduated from college. And my wife and I got married in 2014 as well.
Oh, okay. So wait, you only went to school for 3 years?
No, 4.
Say that again. You graduated in what year?
2010.
Oh, okay.
And so, graduated in the spring in 2010. And then 11, 12, 13, 14, graduated in the spring of 14. And wife and I got married in August. When
you were going to school for business, is that what you went to school? Finance, yeah.
Finance. Yeah, I have a finance degree. And I'll never forget, in high school, could care less about school. But then in college, stopped playing football after my freshman year and was like, okay, well, I need to lock in and focus into some sports. I mean, focus into some academics. I did really well in school. was excited to go into finance, and I had my life insurance license and my Series 6 and 63 to get going in financial services. And I'll never forget Edward Jones, a local Edward Jones office in Baton Rouge, offered me $63,000 a year
Wow.
for a salary, which was pretty solid. And
Yeah.
he said, but look, in 10 years, you build your book of business pretty well, you might make 100 grand. And I don't know if it was just me being naive or what at that point, but I was like, I'm going to get there a lot sooner. And so I didn't go the financial services route and jumped into real estate.
Were you dabbling in real, or at least exploring the idea of real estate before that moment? So you're like, oh,
No,
this is
no, my dad, growing up, he owned a residential home loan mortgage branch.
okay.
So he did mortgages for people, and he kind of did that all while we were growing up. And this was after 2008, 2009, where the mortgage meltdown and all that happened. So he got out of the mortgage business and was teaching school for a local real estate school. And
Okay.
at that point, he said, you know what? I mean, I've seen real estate agents. They're kind of a dime a dozen that, they may not be really educated or know what they're doing. And so he saw something there where he said, I'm going to start a residential real estate brokerage. And so he started that in 2013.
Okay.
And when he started that in 2013, he asked me to come on and work with him. And I love my dad. I wouldn't be who I am without him. But I was like, man, I've done all this, gone to school for 4 years. I'm going to go the finance route. And then when I got hit with, oh, wait, that's the potential that I have there, as opposed to potentially trying real estate. So I got my real estate license just to try it. And then a week after our honeymoon in August of 2014, had my first closing, had a
Wow.
couple more between then and the end of 2014, and was still selling insurance, doing financial services. And we had just gotten married. So I was installing glass windows just to make ends meet, like
Yeah.
manual labor stuff, because, I don't know if, again, some naivety, but, I was like, I have to pay for groceries and rent and things like that I
Yeah.
wasn't used to. But at the end of the year, I realized what I made in real estate, that if I went all into that, it would be a game changer. And it has every year since. I've first 3 or 4 years out, made six figures right off the rip, sold 20, 30 houses. And I was 22. So
Wow.
I was helping people buy and sell houses that were like my friends' parents, or
Okay.
just,
Friends and family first. Pretty
yeah, just
standard.
in calling leads, man, just cutting my teeth, calling leads from people signing up on our website and whatnot. And at 22, I'd never bought my own house, just walking people through the process.
Yeah.
But man, it's now 11 years. My dad had some real serious health trouble and has been out of the business since 2019, 2020. And so since then, we've had the same philosophy here at Smart Move. The name of my brokerage, as I kind of do in life, is that we were going to build deep and not wide.
Mm.
Because of that same way real estate agents are a dime a dozen. We don't just hire anybody. We want Smart Move to mean something. And so we build deep. We've got 18 agents. And
Wow.
transparently, though, we'll turn away more than we hire, because we want the name to carry something, not in the sense of like exclusivity, but just in, we're professional, serious, and focus on serving people and taking care of people. So it's been wonderful. With just 18 agents, we rank in the top 30 of brokerages in the area, and the other brokerages around here have 400 and 500 agents. And so we're serious. We're serious, but we take care of people. And
Yeah.
I would never expect 11 years ago to be in the chair that I'm in, to have the position that I'm in, and have the real estate business that I have, based off of that, and just how much the community and people have returned, the service. And it's been a tenfold return, man. It's been incredible.
Let me ask you this, because obviously you have not only just wisdom from years of doing it, but you actually have, what I guess the world defines as success financially and what you guys have achieved with your business. What do you think is like the biggest skill set that makes a successful agent, at least for Smart Move?
It's hard to define into one word. I think more of like a characteristic, a heart to serve. And I know that may be cliche, but it really, I think, is what separates me from others and separates our agents here from others. Is that, when I think about why somebody should choose me, the thing that goes through my mind is, if they don't choose me, they may choose someone else who doesn't care.
Mm-hmm.
And if they're making the largest financial purchase that 95% of Americans make with somebody who doesn't care, they could end up in a really bad situation. And so, because we care, it means that we have to be educated on the market. we have to be educated on pricing, we have to be educated on negotiation, and that we put their needs before our needs. And we found that when we do that, that's the reason that we have the business that we have today, that I don't have to beat the streets for business anymore. And people call me to say, hey, Brandon, I need you to come list my house because of that reputation. And it's been such a blessing.
What do you think is when you're either interviewing someone or talking to someone, how do you define or realize, oh, this person has I think it's so easy for us, like you said, it's
Say,
cliche of like, oh, Brandon, like I love to serve and I'm the biggest server of all servers and
right,
and all
right,
this. It's easy to talk, talk, talk. So how do you verify, oh yeah,
yeah,
this person does serve first
right.
rather than just trying to serve self first?
I think you can tell from prior experience is even if you weren't in the real estate industry, you can see pretty clearly because of what people are, what someone is doing, and even what they're involved with. If they're solely focused on themselves or focused on the greater gain and in community and people before them. So regardless of industry, I think just asking the right questions of what's their motivation and what's their focus.
Hmm.
Even when people can kind of say the same thing, I think that, or they can say one thing. I don't know that I think, I don't want to just pass it off as discernment or pass it off as I have some hidden gift that I can be able to sense out the BS. But I think people can say one thing and show another, and you can kind of tell early on. And we have an evaluation process of 6 months. After those 6 months, there's a mutual decision that can come and say, hey, we may not work for you, or you may not work for us, or vice versa. So fortunately, we've only had to do that a handful, well, 2 times specifically.
Okay.
After those 6 months, it was a mutual parting of ways.
Oh, okay. So you bring him in, kind of see if it aligns,
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
opposed to, I mean, obviously you probably do your best in an interview to figure it out, but then, the proof in the pudding, seeing how they're actually walking versus just talking.
That's right.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. And so I want to thank you for what it is that you're doing for agents out there. I have to say, I'm not a huge fan of agents, so
Yeah.
I
Understand.
apologize, but I'm not a fan of a lot of coaches out there. I'm not a fan of a lot of doctors. I'm not a fan of so many other people because I mean, we can go into as deep at this as we want, but like people are wicked. Like we are usually serving self. And when we're serving self, we're not going to be the best versions of ourselves for the rest of society. And so I see a lot of agents doing exactly what you're talking about, that they're not educated. They're just trying to fill their pocket and they do take advantage of other people. But I'm not saying that that's just agents. I'm saying that's people because there's
Off
people in
industries. Yeah.
other industries that are
Mhm.
doing the exact same thing. But my problem with a lot of agents is going back to what you're saying of like, this is one of the biggest purchases and can really destroy or set up someone for a good financial outlook in life. And so if they aren't given all the education and all the information to make a good decision, it's pretty deceitful
Yeah.
and unfortunate because they're coming to agents. And this is how I came to agents when I first started getting into real estate. Like, oh, they have my best interest at heart. They know they're not going to lie to me. And then it's like, oh, wait a minute. They're a human just like I am, and they
Right.
make mistakes and they don't know what they're doing.
Right.
But the problem that I have from agents is they pretend that they do know and that they
Yeah.
are saying, oh, just trust me.
Yeah. And it's a symptom of the industry, and it's a symptom of people and human nature in general. But the industry part of it that's difficult with realtors is that the barrier to entry is essentially none. You got your high school degree.
I
You,
disagree because I will be
okay.
honest. I mean, having an engineering degree by paper standards, I'm intelligent, but
Sure.
I tried to get my realtor license in Illinois because I have some properties in Illinois and in
Yeah.
Washington where I live. And I couldn't do it. And at this
Yeah.
point, here's the craziest thing, Bren,
Uh-huh.
is I probably had over 10 properties
Yeah.
in my portfolio, not
Sure.
alone all the flips and all the other things that I've done in the past for real estate, but going through and reading and trying to do all this memorize like
Yeah.
what it I didn't have a big enough drive or a why
Sure.
behind it
Sure.
other
Yeah.
than I was like, oh, I'll save some money and it'll
Yeah.
be nice.
Right.
But I wasn't willing to sacrifice
Right.
for
Yeah.
the
Because
thing. So I couldn't do it, man.
Yeah, well, just from knowing you this little bit, if you dedicated some time to it, you would absolutely do it. With the amount of education and things like that, you could pass that test. I
I
guarantee it.
maybe, but
Yeah,
yeah, but again, that's the reason why I did engineering is because for me, engineering was all math and logic. It wasn't reading, and I
yeah,
hated reading. And
right,
so when I
right.
was doing the real estate stuff, it was all reading and memory. And I'm like, this,
Yeah,
what is this? What does this word mean? What is this? And I'm just like,
right. Well, and
don't know,
and
don't care.
that's another flaw of it too, is that taught you because you knew real estate more than probably most realtors because of your experience. But the test itself or the exam itself does not prepare you to sell real estate. You have
Mm,
to be trained by somebody who's done it and been there and done that. And so, that's a flaw of the industry. And then obviously it's the nature of any sales business, but with people just being based solely on commission, most realtors sell less than two houses a year.
yeah.
And so they sense a little bit of blood in the water. And if you are somewhat interested in that house, even if it is not in your best interest, they're going to do everything they can to get you in that house. And so, I mean, it's commission breath. We know it for any industry, but especially with the largest financial investment that most people make, it's dangerous. It's dangerous. And so that's where putting people's best interest before yours is so critical and so key. And you're right. People can sit here in the chair across from me and interview and say whatever they want. We can get a pretty good sense of it pretty early on, whether they really are about it.
Yeah, you're mentioning about, having that commission breath, and it's more of having that scarcity. I would say that maybe one of the things that I've noticed, and be curious on your thoughts of, a lot of people that have that scarcity, are self-serving,
That's right.
come from a fear based.
Mhm.
In my opinion, the opposite of fear is faith, right? Either you have faith that it's going to work out, it's going to this, that you don't have control, which we really don't, or you come from, I need to protect myself, I'm afraid, I don't believe, I'm all these things. And so
That's right.
when you're coming from that, that's when bad things usually happen in our life. And I'm not on a soapbox here. I'm talking about from life experience of, trying to take care of myself and all that. Like, it comes from such a small place and you're so constrained on what you can actually create. Whereas I feel like when we have that faith, it allows, like, you have three kids. I have three, I have one on the way. Like, the life that I get to live now, I
Yeah.
could have never imagined something so beautiful because I wasn't capable of creating something like
Awesome.
this. So when you come
Yeah.
from that place of faith and just being like, I'm going to do my best and let him take care of the rest and just take one step at a time, like, it
Yeah.
opens up a life that wasn't even possible before.
Right. That's right. Yeah. It's the old analogy. It reminds me of like when you hold sand in your hand and you squeeze it so tight, you don't have any capacity to actually be able to take on more. You can only hold a little bit, but if you just keep your hands open, the amount that you have is so much more. And that's my story too, man, is for a long time being able to say, oh, well, I'm pretty capable on my own of achieving a certain level of things. And it was pride and ego,
Yeah.
but falling on my face a couple of times and then realizing that it was sacrifice. It was putting other people before myself. It
Mm,
was investing even when I wasn't getting paid. Investing my time into things even when I wasn't getting paid. Investing my time into people that wasn't paying me. That ended up making my business, my life, my family, all of that what it is today. Like I didn't get to mention that. So I'm broker and owner of our company, but my wife and I serve as the youth pastors at our church as an associate pastor that I get to share and preach at. And we just had this opportunity to buy a historic business in our town. It's my wife calls it like there's Gilmore Girl fans. It's like this cutest little cafe. It's just got the most awesome vibes. It's historic and we do coffee and soups and salads and sandwiches. And to think that like now we own that part of history and own that part of our town, none of that would be possible. Like if we kept everything just clinched,
mm.
but like being able to just, okay, we're going to sacrifice, we're going to serve. It created opportunities in other areas of our life, which have just been incredible.
I want to dig into that, but I want to
Yeah.
go back a little bit. You're saying that you failed, you were serving yourself. Like, do you remember, and you might not have the exact moment, but do you know when you kind of made that pivot from, I'm just let's call it for what it is, like coming from that fear of like, I have to take care of myself, I have to do this. Like, was there a pivotal moment, or can you think of a time where you're like, you know what, this no longer serves me? I want to come from a place of faith instead of scarcity?
I think there were two main seasons, maybe not two specific instances, but two different seasons. And both of them had to do with me humbling myself.
Mm.
Just
Did
after
you humble yourself or were you humbled?
the world humbled me. Yes, I
Yes.
was humbled. Coming from, we had a big high school, but, many of us, some people can relate to the experience that in high school when you're playing football and all these different things and you're doing well academically and athletically. And I was fortunate in high school, not to bring up the glory days too much, but he played really good football and were successful and in the playoffs year after year and getting recruited to go different places and whatnot. And felt like the big man on campus. And then real quick got humbled when I went to LSU and realized that, man, my career would be made up of special teams. Like it's just, for me, that absolutely wrecked my identity and who I was, because I was the big man on campus into just being one of the guys.
Yeah.
So much so that my ego couldn't handle it, transferred to a smaller school.
Ah, beautiful. You're really holding on to it. Yeah.
Transferred to a smaller school to say, hey, maybe this is more it.
Yeah.
And followed a girl in the midst of it all. And man, that didn't work out, where I got hurt emotionally and got hurt physically playing football, tore my rotator cuff, have AC joints separation and this shoulder supplication thing that is a chronic injury in my shoulder. And so I really was just like, okay, I have to figure out who I'm going to be, what I'm going to do. And man, that's really where the Lord got a hold of me too. I grew up in church and all these different things, but just didn't have a personal relationship with God for myself.
Do you feel like at that moment you would put, I love that you're using my kind of words of identity and all that. So
Right.
at that moment before this incident that we're talking about, would you still have classified yourself as religious growing up? And
I would have.
yeah, same.
Yeah, I would have. And it hit me. Yeah, I'll never forget this. And such a big part of my testimony. This one specific instance, when we're talking about faith, I've been going to the school, Southeastern, for, 4 or 5 months now. And started to talk back and forth and have a relationship with a girl that I'd probably spent a month or two with at this point. And from back in junior high or eighth or ninth grade, when I'd go to church at a certain church back home, the youth pastor was retiring. I had some old friends invite me to come back for their retirement service. And so I told this girl that I'd been talking to for the last couple of months. She said, hey, you want to get together after class? I was like, no, sorry, I'm going back home to go to church. And she stopped and she just said, oh, I had no idea you were a Christian. And man, that moment was such a pivotal moment that marked me. And I was like, man, I've talked with her probably every day for the last 2 or 3 months, and not a single evidence in my life, whether I even just verbalized it or she could just see it, that I was connected to church, things of God, had any faith whatsoever. It didn't happen right away, but it was a wake up call to where I got to get some things in order in my life. And so started to go to church, went to a church camp that summer as a freshman in college. That was another humbling thing for me, because I felt like I was going backwards, like this is something kids do.
How did you allow yourself to do that? Because you could have went to your identity and ego. I'm this alpha football player. I'm the best. I'm dominant. I am.
Yeah.
To allow yourself to be, maybe I'm not. And to go, because you could have said, I don't do that. That's not for me. That's for kids. I'm above that. Therefore, I am not going to go.
Well, part of it, I probably went with the wrong intentions, and the Lord got a hold of me anyway.
Well, as
I went the wrong intentions. The church camp, was at the beach. And so,
oh, wow, that sounds awesome.
That was a part of it in Panama City Beach in Florida. So,
what was your drive? What was your story? I'm going to go to this camp in order to what?
I was still doing a good job of pretending that I was the good guy and the act. You know what I mean? I'd gotten down the behavior, but behind the scenes, I was empty.
Yeah.
I would just empty. And so I did feel that longing that, I went just to have
and this is when you were still in college, right? You weren't making the money yet or anything.
Correct,
okay, keep going.
Yeah, I just felt empty. I'm like, when football came out from underneath me and that was my whole identity, now I'm just one person walking around campus.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, well, why should people, I'm used to people knowing me for something, and now I'm not known
you don't know who I am?
Yeah, right. And it's such an ego thing.
Yeah.
Man. It just, but I felt that emptiness where, you go back to the dorm room and you're like, There's just no joy, no purpose, no something to really live for. And so I went into it with mixed intentions. Oh, maybe the Lord will do something, but really I'm just here to have a good time. It's at the beach and I'm going to have fun.
Oh, okay.
And so, but while I was there, man, it was just an encounter I can't even really explain. It was just really a place mixing where I knew I needed help, that I could not do it on my own. And it really started the trajectory for the rest of my life. That church camp that I went to is still the church that I'm at today. It's actually where my wife and I are the youth pastors. So now we bring kids on
Oh,
that.
wow. And you lure them in with the beach, right?
Yeah, exactly. We make the drive from Baton
Typical
Rouge to Panama
salesman.
City.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. So we lure him with the beach and oh, we're gonna go get a good tan, but you're also gonna, get an encounter with God too. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, that's typical, sales or whatever,
right,
give them or sell them what they want, give them what
right,
they need,
exactly. Yeah,
So
yeah,
that's so
yeah.
funny that it worked for you and now you're paying it forward and
That's right.
continuing to do the same thing.
Right. Yeah. And really, kind of the second season after that is even going through college. I started getting to know my wife around that same time. We went to high school together, but didn't know each other. It was a bigger high school, but we met through church and started to date throughout college and then got
This
engaged.
was after the camp?
Yes,
This
after
is
the
second.
camp.
Okay.
And then got engaged my junior year of college.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
You went to the camp, you were transformed,
Mhm.
and then did that transformation stay consistent all the way through?
It was a gradual progression. It was growing. It was a lot of old habits and things that had to die,
Mhm.
that took time to get rid of and took time to, give to the Lord. But, I still had a lot of growing up to do, still had a lot of ego to kill. And that was a big part of it where it was, again, I got out to another big transition point, another big moment of change, which was just graduating college and then going out into the real world
Right.
where my wife and I get married, and I don't know what I was thinking. I wasn't thinking, but I didn't have 2 cents to my name. I forged our application to be able to get accepted in the apartment that we got into, just to hey, I make this much, but
Mm.
don't, that kind of deal,
Yeah.
just accepted. And I started to see the bills, and I'm like, okay, I have a insurance license, a real estate license, and I have this part-time job installing glass windows. I don't know how to make ends meet.
Okay.
And just that couple of months of figuring out like how to make things work and all of that, man, that's where my ego really got into check, where it's like, I need other people's help. You know, I need mentorship. I need somebody who's going to take me under their wing to lead. Like, I'm not just going to hop into career field and hop into things and figure out all this different stuff. So it taught me a lot really in those first couple of months of being out on my own, if you will, that I needed other people.
And how did you come to that conclusion? So you're sitting there 3 months in, let's say, and the bills are piling up and you're not able to figure out how to solve that yourself. What happened or how did you get to the point of, okay, let me go solicit help from others as opposed, because I mean, realistically, fight, flight, or freeze, when we come to that moment, we can either go try to solve it or we can just get paralyzed and be like, I don't know, and I don't know what else to do, and I'm just going to keep doing this. Or we can run away and hide from the bills and just be like, you wait till you get evicted
Shrink.
from your place.
Correct. Yeah, I think it was those are those pivotal moments where exactly what you said, we decide to fight or flight. And I think I've had a lot of good examples, my dad being one, of
Mm,
if time gets tough, we're going to fight.
yeah.
And I think fighting more often than not is misinterpreted, right? Like the
Mm,
fight for me was humbling myself and saying, I need help. And that needing help was just trusting somebody else that they could see something in myself that I couldn't see. And it
that's so
was
beautiful.
that I just needed to humble myself and say, you know what? Like, part of me, and we fight against this, anybody coming from a family business or something like that, like, oh, well, I want to get out underneath, away from my dad's umbrella.
Mm,
But it was actually my dad. It was humbling myself to say, no, 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 there's nothing wrong with working for dad's real estate company,
hmm
and saying like, I'm going to forge my own path underneath that leadership and guidance. And I was fighting against that by saying, no, I'm going to go my own route and do this other thing with financial services and all this different stuff. And part of that was because I wanted to do my own thing. I wanted to be my own man, all this different stuff. And what's been incredible since then is just like everything. It's like, okay, well, I went into it with this expectation. And now, and my dad, this is the biggest blessing for my dad, is he doesn't wear it as any shame. It's his biggest badge of honor that what I've been able to accomplish in the real estate industry is tenfold what he ever even scratched the surface of. But I wouldn't be able to do that if it wasn't for the foundation, or for him even opening the door to say, I have a real estate company to come work at, and to have faith and belief in me. So I think that was really the pivotal moment, was to humble myself enough to say, I'm okay not doing my own thing, but making my own thing underneath somebody else's umbrella.
And so is that where you went? You reached out to your dad for help?
Yep. Yeah. It was that season. It was that saying, I need to abandon the financial services and that whole goal, because I'm going too many different directions. I don't need to be spending 30, 40 hours a week doing glass windows, that even though that is a consistent paycheck, I'm selling myself way short. I need to go all into this. And I went all into it, and the rest is history.